Hi, I'm Shay, and welcome to the Shay Era. And so, in this series, we are talking about my creative journey through the artist's way. Week 3 is about recovering a sense of power. I feel like for this one, I wasn't really connected to this chapter, and I think that's just because of, the experiences that I've had. With week 3, she talks a lot about understanding what it is that you want to do, and then the how will follow afterwards. But you can't try to figure out how if you don't even know what you're trying to do. Once you are able to identify what it is that you're trying to do, then the steps will lay themselves out, because then you start to get your brain working like, okay, how do I do this? Google, search, find out information, do research. That's how you understand how. Because if you don't know what you want to do, you don't understand what you're looking for to understand how to get something done. And then that's when magic comes into play, which is action. Action is magic. Actions are how we manifest things into existence, because without actions, things wouldn't get done. And then with that, she touches on how, once you start putting action to certain things, you start to experience this thing called shame. Aww. And when you start to experience shame, that's when, even though you're doing the action, a lot of it, you are doing it just for the sake of doing it and not to show it, because you're not sure how people are going to receive what you're doing. And that's when you have to allow yourself to not care about that. Not allowing what people think stop you from doing what you've been put here to do. You have that creativity for a reason. You thought of that idea for a reason. You have that project for a reason. And sometimes we allow, things like imposter syndrome and all different types of things that come from shame that prevents us from creating the things that we've been put here to create. So you have to be able to push through the shame that comes from just having fear of what you think may happen, but you don't know exactly what's going to happen. The fear of the unknown is one of the things that really keeps us from really experiencing the fullness of an experience. And that's what it's for. The experience is for you to feel something, to then reflect on that experience, and then that's how you grow. That's how you figure out, oh, this is what I like. Oh, this is what I want to do with myself. So you really have to allow yourself, again, to be real with yourself during this process. I did 5 out of 7 for my morning pages. I don't feel bad about that, and I do feel good about the times that I allowed myself to not beat myself up for missing the days that I did due to circumstances. So really allowing yourself to be gentle with yourself during this process too, and not beat yourself up, because you are human and life be lifing. So you gotta understand the flow of how you flow with how your universe is operating. You get me? When it comes to my artist dates, I spent this time doing a lot of songwriting research, because after I left out of week 2, I had made this beat, and I told myself that I was going to make a song from every beat that I make before I make anything else. I allowed myself to keep listening to that beat over and over again and try to figure out how the flow of everything is really gonna go once I start to add lyrics to it. And I've really learned a lot about myself when it comes to doing research on a lot of this stuff, because this is a new realm for me. I've never done this. It's going to be a different experience, and I fought myself in going in thinking that I knew what I was doing, and I don't know what I'm doing. I have to allow myself to be a beginner. I have to allow myself to start fresh doing this new thing that I've never allowed myself to be vulnerable enough to even experience or express. I did a lot of research, and I did a lot of things on, understanding the flow of music and how songs are really structured and how they're really put together, and then understanding how lyrics are formed. It's kind of tough when you haven't been really spending a lot of time expressing yourself. But one thing I can say with going through this process, it has allowed me to understand expression in a different way. I did a lot of research on new artists. Like, I went through and I actually asked ChatGPT, based off the conversation that I've been having with ChatGPT this whole time, it has generated a concept of what my writing style is. So I asked ChatGPT. I asked it, what do you think my influence of music would be, based off of everything that we've talked about. And it gave me a list of all these different artists I've never listened to before. I allowed myself to sit and really listen and analyze their music and really understand what it is that they were expressing in their music, and understanding their flow and their style of things, so that I can get a better understanding of what mine would look like. I ended week 3 going into another project, which is my creative writing project that I started. It's taken me to a whole nother experience of being a writer. And it really helped me understand that that is something that I really genuinely like to do. And I find a lot of enjoyment out of just writing. It led me into my creative writing path. We'll see how this all plays out, because I really want to know what comes out of this, because I'm only, going into week 4 and I've already done so many creative ideas and projects, and I'm really curious as to how this is gonna go. So if you're curious too, come back next week for week 4 and you'll hear all about that too. So every step you take is a masterpiece in the making. What's one action you'll take to reclaim your creative power? Let me know down in the comments. And we out.